What's up, Crabs? So, today we're going to be going through, in my opinion, what are the top 10 hardest Meow Medals in the game. There are a lot of Meow Medals, over 120, and a lot of them are really easy, like getting all of the treasures in Empire of Cats, or clearing Stories of Legend for the first time. But some of them are, like, insanely hard. Like, some of them, less than 1% of people in Battle Cats have, and the hardest one in the game, way less than 1% of people have. It is abysmally low. So today we're going to be going through all of them, and if you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing for more content. And yeah, Battle Cats, subscribe to my membership. Anyway, at number 10, we have Infernal Tyrant Niendam's medal, and it's just called Infernal Tyrant Niendam. Now, Infernal Tyrant Niendam is a brutal advent, and he is hard. In my opinion, he is the second hardest brutal advent. He is a Niendam variant, except he has 3 insanely long-range attacks. The first one does a 70% toxic attack, and the second and third ones deal a absurdly high amount of damage, enough to one-shot pretty much anything, or severely cripple what's left. Now, this is a very hard stage, but it just goes on number 10 because there's a lot of just harder accomplishments, and you can complete it, and in fact, it is actually decently necessary to complete it if you want to succeed in Uncanny Legends starred stages, because Cone Cat is just so... Oh, no. Jetpack Cat is just so essential for a lot of stages, so you really need it. Number 9 is Big Pang in the Neck, and this goes to Big Pang Z. And this stage isn't necessarily hard because you can just cheese it really easily. Like, there is a super easy cheese strat that just absolutely destroys this stage. The problem is, it's tedious to do. So, it takes a long time because you have to miss his sign stack. So you either have to miss his sign stack or grind for a absolutely absurd amount of time to stack up, just get good enough, unless you have a toxic immune unit, because this is a very brutal stage. It's not hard if you do the cheese strat. It's either time consuming or just plain quite difficult, and that's why it gets this spot in the list. Number 8 on the list goes to Omens, and now Omens is sort of a weird stage. Like, it's just a surge mess, and you need to prepare carefully. Like, you need to build your entire lineup around this boss, because he can shred through pretty much anything that isn't surge immune. So you do just need to prepare with surge immune units. It is a very hard Baron boss, and that's why it gets on the list. It's just difficult, tedious, and not a lot of people have beaten it. Number 7, we have Year Round. Now, this is the easiest Meow Medal in practice to obtain. You don't have to be far in the game to complete it. You could beat Stories of Legend. You could be around that progression and be able to have this medal. The problem is, you have to do a lot of grinding. You have to beat every single monthly stage, and then every single seasonal stage, which appears quarterly. And so there's one for the spring, one for the summer, one for the fall, and one for the winter, when you clear all of the sets and the stages that correspond with that. When you get that, you finally get the year-round achievement. And this is hard, because you have to play Battle Cats for at least a year, and you have to be really on top of it. Like, you can't miss a stage, otherwise your chances of getting this medal is just gone for until the next year, which is why it just sucks. Like, I personally don't have this medal myself because it's tedious, and honestly, it doesn't matter. Meow medals don't matter, but it's a flex if you have it. Number 6 goes to Hypho Hysteria. Now, this is what is, in my opinion, by far the hardest Colossus boss. It is insane. This guy has 30,000 DPS. He's ranged. And, like, the enemies are so absurdly buffed. Like, the attackies can one-shot a lot of things, dealing, like, 60,000 damage. They can snipe your base. Everything's so hard pushing. This stage used to be the hardest stage in the game, and, well, it's definitely fallen off from that ranking. It's still insanely hard, and this stage is brutal to beat. You have to either Uber carry, which is, to be honest, what I did, or just be a absolute master at timing and stalling and sort of just everything, because this boss is extremely insane, and it's scary how hard this boss is. Number 5 is Xenobeast Bungalows, which is the achievement for beating Hunt for the Xenobeast every stage. Now this is definitely the hardest brutal advent and the hardest advent in the game. This one is ridiculous. His third stage, you have to well, every stage can be beaten with cyber stacking. However, you have to cyber stack good. You can't mess up cyber stacking, and cyber stacking may seem easy, and it frankly is not the hardest skill in the game, but if you've played a Xenobeast stage, you'll see you really have to be patient in order to win. This stage is super annoying. The boss is very powerful, so it's a really hard boss. Definitely harder, in my opinion, than Hypho Hysteria. Hypho Hysteria is not as nearly as hard as Xenobeast, so this is why I put it on the list. Xenobeast is sort of just brutal. Number 4 is the Meow Medal called Newton, and you get this by, you guessed it, beating Newton. Now, I put this one on here because Newton is far in the game, and that's pretty much it. He's not a particularly hard boss. Sure, he is a hard boss, but not impossibly hard. You just have to deal with a lot of progression to get here. You have to be playing for, I'd guess, more than a year at the very minimum just to get this medal, and you have to be actively playing, and you have to be decently good enough to clear a hard stage and every stage before it that is required for progression. And there are a lot of stages that are effectively required to unlock Newton. So that's why it gets on the list, not because of the accomplishment itself, but because of how much hurdles you have to overcome just to obtain it. Number 3 on the list goes to Lifeform's Mysterious Attack, and this you get from clearing 4 Crown UL and then clearing Dr. Nova's Invasion stage. Now, Dr. Nova's Invasion stage is insanely easy. I cleared it second try. You can just rush it down and you win. It's absurdly easy. But the problem is, you have to clear several hundred stages in just Uncanny Legends. You probably have to get ID, which is another several hundred stages. And don't even get me started on 3 Crown UL, because that is probably the most unpleasant experience in all the Battle Cats. And like, so the buffs are just insane. What is a 360% Cadaver Bear doing in a stage? And that's early Uncanny Legends. It's absolutely madness. All of 3 Crown Uncanny Legends, and it's just a small reward at the end, and you just have to go through absolute hell to get this. The stage itself, like Newton, is really easy, but the journey to get there is an absolute nightmare, so that's why it gets on the list. Number 2 goes to Heinous Family, and this one is pretty self-explanatory, because you have to defeat what is arguably one of the hardest, if not the hardest, stages in the game, which is Super Smash Families, and the second stage of that, which is absolute hell. You also have to clear every Malevolent, so you have to beat each of those quite challenging stages when they appear, and if you miss it, too bad. And then you have a 2-day window in which you have to hope you can beat that stage in that time period, otherwise gotta wait till the next month. And this is a stage where the stage is absolutely the hurdle. The requirements for getting it is not necessarily the most difficult, but you have to beat the hardest stage in the game, and you also have to grind semi to get it. So it's insane. It's a very difficult stage, and that's why it goes on here. And number 1, this one might come as a surprise to you, but it's by far the hardest in my opinion. People could easily get every other medal in the game before they're halfway to getting this medal, and that is Underground B100F. Now, you have to be good at the game, you have to grind, you have to do everything to get this medal. So, this medal is beaten by clearing the final floor in the Underground Labyrinth. Now, you should hopefully know what the Underground Labyrinth is, but if you don't, it is a series of 100 stages which are semi-randomized, where the gimmick is you can have a lineup, but some cats after each stage clear are blocked forever, and you can't use it for the rest of the run. So it's sort of like a roguelike, except you only get one chance at it. So yeah, you only get one chance. So if you lose, you have to wait till the next time it comes around, and that can often be months, which absolutely sucks. Also, it blocks your units, and it blocks a ton of them, and there's 100 floors, so you need several hundred units to get, and this is a pretty insane accomplishment to get several hundred units. You have to have a lot to get this amount of units. It's an insanely ridiculous amount of units just to be able to get, just be able to physically be able to do this stage, and that's not even including, it is an incredibly difficult challenge. You have to manage your resources properly, and there's a chance you just get unlucky and get screwed over by RNG banning more units than they should have, and then your run's over. Have to wait till next time. It's insane. You have to play so many collabs, you have to grind for a long time. You can't just have every gacha unit in the game. You have to have some really obscure units that from gachas that appeared like years ago, and that's the only way to beat it. You just have to have such an absurd amount of units, and then you have to be good. You have to get lucky. This medal is just so insanely hard. I think that less than 0.5% of people have it. It's ridiculous, and that's why it gets absolutely the hardest medal in the game. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. And yeah, that's all I have for you. Hope you enjoyed. Like it, membership, join. Bye.